Shajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Shan Chatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This Shanti mantra is a prayer for the well-being of everyone, which is a necessary thing to feel within us for meditating on anything higher in life. They otherwise the feeling of enmity, only my well-being, not others, that is detrimental to our feeling, our that spiritual unity. And how do we see that is also described in this Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam says, we saw last 2 days, that describes the oneness of the our core being, the essential being. So here is Harshal. Very good. Namaskar. So it is that oneness has to be felt, and the expression of that oneness is the love for everyone, praying for the well-being of everyone. It is if I am just thinking about my little physical self and praying for its wellness, then naturally I will not be able to feel that underlying oneness of all beings, the Purusha. So, the feeling of Purusha requires us to scrape off. Uh, of course, scrape off means by knowledge, by transcendence. Scrape off the external coverings, which divide, which separate. The externals have to be transcended to feel the internal unity. So, like they do in business, that is what is described, that we should have professional attitude. That when we are, say, somebody is uh, selling a product in the shop. Now the job is to sell the product for whoever asks for it and whoever is going to pay for it. That's the only criteria. The other thing, whether the person is tall or short, that the salesperson just removes it from the understanding. Whether you are tall or short, whether you are white skinned or dark skinned, whether you are male or female, all those and so many other distinctions, they are scraped off, removed, and then only thing is seen is the customer there, and then is going to pay properly. So that's enough. That is the professional attitude. So uh, here we have to be professionals in spiritual life, means what? The superficial distinctions have to be taken out. It is just incidental, friends, that somebody is that one kind of body, somebody is having some other kind of body. And it is, but the self is same. You do not worry about it. When you go to buy, say, a water bottle, then you look at the price and then pick up a bottle. You are not very finicky or about this bottle and this bottle and this bottle. Uh, so you pick up a bottle. You just remove the distinctions there. So exactly like that, that we have to go beyond these distinctions Whatever is here is also here, there, everywhere. And then that calms down the mind tremendously, and there is the spontaneous surge of bliss in life. Both happen because of that oneness. When we feel oneness, we get happiness. Even in the minor things, we see that we get attracted to something. When we feel happiness about it, that I am here and I love ice cream that is there, then no happiness. When I and ice cream become one, there is no ice cream seen outside, then Arya becomes happy. Yeah, it is because the unity has been established. When you see the unity, then the happiness springs up. And therefore, when we perceive, when we experience the spiritual unity of the whole universe, we get the perfect and permanent happiness. We become happiness, so it cannot be removed from us now because we are happiness. Just as you cannot remove the saltiness from the salt, not possible because that is the nature of the salt. So exactly like that, the love and bliss, they become now permanent with me. The peace becomes permanent with me. It can never be taken out. So this is how the Purusha Suktam, in these very few but very forceful verses, the power in these Vedic hymns is tremendous. It is even when you chant it without understanding the meaning, still it creates an effect inside. What to speak of when we understand the meaning, when we feel the idea behind it, and start coming in close touch with the spirit, the life becomes illumined. So we shall continue from where we left last time. We saw that the same being in everyone, and then the description was going on as to how, from that one, this whole universe, how it happened. Well, that one is now manifesting, and that is a like a sacrifice, a yajna. So, this ritual of creating this whole universe from what? From only one without second being. There is no second. And therefore, we should have the implication of this one, not just glibly saying that it is one without second. Look at the implications. That means it cannot be having effect of anything else. There is nothing else. So what can impact it? There is nothing else to impact it. There will be no desire there because desire is for something else. There is nothing else. So there is no desire. So, and still uh, that creation happens. Therefore, the only way that creation is happening is uh, through superimposition. Because there is no change possible there. It is the same one without second reality, without any mutation, without any alteration. This whole infinitely varied universe is uh, just coming out of it and dissolving also. Being not real, it comes and goes. It doesn't stay too long. So this is how this creation is. It is very intriguing to see that in the essence it is one without second. But if you see the external, even the smallest entity, uh, they are different from each other. Even one electron is different from another electron inside the same atom. The two electrons, they can be labeled that this electron and that electron. It is so the distinction is so much, and yet they are everything. Even uh, this, what is the Upanishad says, the Taittiriya Upanishad, what is here is also in the sun. The reality is same in both cases. So yaschayam purushe, yaschasau aditye, sa ekah. That the reality in me, uh, ayam purushe, yaschasau aditye, the sun, there also it is the same one being. So we have to, uh, and it is simple job, really speaking. We say, and somehow we feel that spiritual life and realizing God must be very difficult. Probably it is, if we go the right way, there is nothing simpler than that. Mm. Now, no work is easier than realizing God, actually. Mm. Because that is the reality. Is it easier to find a thing that exists, or easier to to find a thing that does not exist? Ask yourself, what is easy? To find a thing that is, or to find a thing that is not? What is easier? That is, exactly. It is, the answer is so simple. Everybody, even that little boy sitting here, he spontaneously answered, that which is can be found out, that which is not. How can you ever find it out? I had told as a joke that Swami Ranganathananji's Bhagavad Gita book has it, and that one uh, priest had invited his philosopher friend to give a talk. And then, as customary, there is this, he gave introduction of his philosopher friend, and he gave the name and then said, that what is a philosopher? The philosopher is that person. Philosopher is the one who tries to find a non-existent. Philosopher is the one who tries to find a non-existent black cat in a dark room. Uh, uh, what a prospect that person has of success. A non-existent cat, a black cat in a dark room. So this philosophy professor was a bit piqued by this remark, and when his turn came to speak, he said, well, my priest friend told me about my profession, but he didn't tell about his profession. Let me tell about his profession. The priest also is one who is looking for a non-existent black cat in a dark room, but claims that he has found it. That is the priest. So it is, uh, if you are looking for such a thing, you can never find it. But this Purusha, who is every moment. That is how Upanishad, that Dakshinamurti Stotra and other Upanishads, they claim it, they tell it, that every moment that self is asserting itself, Ahamiti antaspurantam sada. Every moment, whenever we say I, it is that self is uh, um, assuring its existence. Yes, I am. So it is the existing thing. And therefore, it is, you can find it. So it is an easy job. There is a beautiful uh, Christian mystic book, Cloud of Unknowing. Many of you might have read it, and if not, I strongly recommend that one should read that beautiful book, Cloud of Unknowing. And there, that mystic is telling that this work is very easy. It is the easiest work to realize God in life. Mm. Because God is. Mm. And what you have to do is only simply this thing, uh, give up. Give up what? All that trash. Ignorance is to be given up. Ah, Ranganathananji says dumbness has to be given up. Ah, what? Do you love your dumbness, wants to hug it? Ah, who doesn't want to give up dumbness? Give up the being dumb. That's it. And you see that. Mm, it is, but we are so attached to our dumbness. It is, and so we don't want to give it up. What happens is we are actually attached to dumbness, but then the attachment goes further and we get attached to the products of dumbness. Ah, like this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my spouse, this is my house, this is my money. Ah, these are all the secondary products of dumbness. Actually, it is not I at all. There, no I, no mine. But then it is only ignorance and it manifests. Uh, our this Mukta is sitting here. She says, yes, yes, I understand it, but then the all the buts are brought out, not to remove the ignorance, but to remove the knowledge. That is the pity of our life. Instead of kicking out the dumbness, we kick the knowledge out that is going to remove the dumbness. So, Purusha Suktam tells that, look, this is how the creation is. All this is created by covering the Purusha, as it were. Purusha is bound and kept. So now not seen, not involved in anything. And thus you see that. So uh, that now it says that, look, from that all the variety that emerges, how that yajustasmadajayata, all the Vedic hymns, they came from that. The expression of variety involved, there is both ignorance and knowledge as it were combined. You have the option to choose. God has given that in all creation there is the option to choose. And got it, Juhi? You can choose ignorance or knowledge. And most of us choose, unfortunately, ignorance. It is Kathopanishad tells that uh, after the first chapter, um, the teacher there, the death, starts praising the student Nachiketa that why you are worthy of getting these teachings, because there are these two paths available to people. That one Shreyascha preyascha manushyametah, that which is Shreya means that which leads to ultimate good. And then there is the other path that leads to more and more temptations and thus uh, path for destruction. So these two paths are open for you. And what happens? Those who are intelligent people, Shreyo Dhiro Abhipreyaso Vrinite. Beautiful words, that the intelligent person sees that if this that which is liked prayer, that which tempts, uh, that is not right. It is going to lead me to path of destruction. So does not go for that. Shreya Vrinite. And then prayer. Who goes for prayer? I like it. I love it. It is all temptations. So one who is preyo hi mando, yogakshemad vrinite. Manda means dumb. The one who is dumb, we call them dumb, isn't it? In common parlor also. What will you call, Mangesh? That suppose somebody gets a phone call, rampant phone calls like that these days, that, hey, we are, we have been trying to reach you for a long time. That is how they, because there is a great offer for you. If you invest just $500, in 1 month you will get $5,000. Now, is it possible? If somebody falls for it, what is that person called? Huh? Dumb. We are dumbs like that. That abhipreyaso shreyo pranite and mando. The dumb chooses for Yogakshema. What is the meaning of Yogakshema? Uh, in India, that life insurance corporation has this Yogakshemam. That is a statement from Bhagavad Gita. Yogakshemam Vahamyam. They have made it for their business. So it is. Yoga means to get more and more money, more and more houses, more and more family, more and more things. Yeah. So, and that is called yoga. Shema means to hold on to what you already have. What a terrible bondage, to hold on to what you have and keep on adding more and more to it. Yoga Shema. So for that, this manda goes on adding more and more burden to oneself and thus become terribly miserable. Mm. This is what happens. So these two paths are open. Which path you will go to? So that is thus with everything that yajus tasmad ajayata, the Vedas come up. Now Vedas have both capability of bringing you the ultimate wisdom, and also they can make you more and more engrossed in the world also. Because you will see that with this you can make a lot of money. You can become a priest and get a lot of money by that, by performing pujas and to other people's this thing. You can thus everything has this twofold. You have to choose. Mm. If you make a wrong choice, you are bound by your choice. The point is that once you make the choice, then you are bound by that choice. Like yesterday, we had that the right turn was to be taken, but then Jyoti missed it, in New York. What happened was it's not her fault. The GPS, because of the tunnel, it stopped functioning. So she missed that, went to the other side. Now that choice has been made, a wrong choice, and now you can, I said, now, well, let us go from whenever again, now we will be brought in the right path, we will take it. And now there is no uh, leaving the path in between like that. So it is. So you are bound by the choice you make. It is, there is, we have to take it. I made the choice, and so I am getting this. And now, next time, you got the lesson that, okay, next time, let me make a better choice. Our that Abhijit says there in Providence. When I say, hey, what did you do? Eh? I says, next time, Maharaj, I will try. Next time. It is interesting, because then you learn your lesson. It is, if you don't learn your lesson also, then it is a problem. So, uh, thus, yajus tasmadajayata, tasmadashva ajayanta, ये केचो भयादतः गावो हजज्ञिरे तस्मात् तस्मात् जाता अजावयः. So, from that were born the horses, as also animals like donkeys and mules, which have two rows of teeth. From that were born the cattle. From that again were born goats and sheep and all that other creatures. And so, everything, the earth got populated like that, that from that through mutation, and this from this species, that other species came up, evolved, and so forth. Uh, all this came up, and then what happened to the Purusha? Yat Purusham Vyadadhu Katidha Vyakalpayan Mukham Kimasya Kaubahu Kavuru Pada Uchyete Brahmanosya Mukhamasit Bahurajanya Kritah Uru Tadasya Yadvaishyah पद्भ्यागं शूद्रो अजायत चंद्रमा मनसो जातः चक्षुः सूर्यो अजायत मुखादिन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च प्राणाद्वायुरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षं शीर्ष्णो द्यौः समवर्तत पद्भ्यां भूमिर्दिशश्रोत्रात् तथा लोकागम akalpayan. This is more elaborated in Bhagavatam, that now on that Purusha everything is superimposed. Now it is described what is what is what is what. What you see, that like yesterday's example that we were seeing, I'll give another example. You might have gotten bored with that same example. So, uh, this happened when I had gone to one place in India to give talks at Malkapur, a small town, and lot of people were there. And then after the programs were over, I was taken to one home, and then in that home on the wall there was a painting there. The painting was okay, good painting, but the host said it is a very extraordinary painting, very nice. I could not see much extraordinary about it. Okay, good painting. Uh, then he said, what is extraordinary? There is the figure of a great man there. I was seeing a small hut, a tree, a dirt road going around, some mountain there. A good that scenery was there. And then I could not see any great person there. So I said to him in jest that your great person must have been inside the hut in that picture. He must have gone in there. So, uh, but then as I said it, I could see the image, the picture of Rabindranath Tagore emerging there. It is nothing was done to the picture. Ah, they, uh, they, the tree and things that became like his that tuft of hair, the face, everything. Just the same scenery. And that dirt road became his beard, and uh, and then all the scenery vanished. Only the picture of uh, great Rabindranath Tagore there. Now, what happened there? Nothing changed. Hmm. There is that another famous similar picture. There is you can see the same thing as a jar or two faces juxtaposed. Hmm. What is it? Is it two faces or the picture of jar? Now, it is the if what hides the jar is the appearance of two faces there. So the Purusha got hidden in the variety. Mm. We see that very often when we go and see the movie, we do not notice the screen. We see only the pictures, and the screen gets covered by all the pictures in the movie. So, and then we don't see the screen. So that is what this Purusha now is all this. Like we saw after I could see the picture of Rabindranath Tagore there, then I could see that this beard of Rabindranath is that road became the beard of Rabindranath, that leaves and the branches, they became the tuft of hair on his head. The trunk kind of became, the face of Rabindranath Tagore. Uh, it's all, everything became something of Rabindranath Tagore. Mm. So he says this, what you see actually is being superimposed on that unchanging being. So says that uh, when the gods decided to mentally sacrifice the Virat Purusha and uh, and produce further creation, in how many ways did they do it? What became of the face of, or the mouth? What became of his two arms? What became of the two thighs? What were the products of the 2 feet? It is an anthropomorphic way of looking at it. We are constitutionally confined to think of God or the highest being as a human. Mm. Because we are human, and our God also has to have some human features, only to show that it is not human. And we therefore have Vishnu, uh, that like human being. Is God just limited to human form? No, but we are compelled to think like that. So we have this human figure, but to show that he is not human, human beings have two hands. So we put two additional hands to Lord Vishnu to show that he has transcended the human limitations. So it's like that. And then sometimes a lotus coming out of his navel is shown. And now no human being has a lotus coming out of the navel. So, but it is all figurative, that it is beyond the human limitations. So, it is, he describes further thus this Virat being. As I mentioned in Bhagavatam, you can see more elaborate descriptions of this, that they, uh, the community of Brahmins are like the face, where the Lord's face is, you can see that Brahmins there. Why? Because they talk a lot, isn't it? It is so. It is they learn and then they teach. Here, the meaning is that not that at a particular caste as such, but they became this Lord's face. Bahurajanya Kritaha, those who are the Kshatriyas, and those Kshatriyas are the arms of that Purusha. Then the belly and other part, of the body, that part is the Vaishya community, which, feeds, fosters and feeds everybody. It is like the stomach. Somebody became, that people get very agitated that we do the work and somebody else gets the result of it. But through that somebody, it gets distributed. It is the hands, do they complain that we do all the work and then all the food gets into stomach? We won't give it food to stomach anymore. They will not, the hands also will not get it. You cannot cut the hand and put food into it. Ah, so the Vaishya community is the distributor of wealth, accumulation and distribution. And that is its job. And Swami Vivekananda has a beautiful book on that, caste, culture, and socialism. So, uh, it is a collection of his thoughts expressed at different places, and that marvelous book has been made out of it. So, Padbyagam Shudro Ajayata, the legs which walk. And so, imagine they are the Shudra community. So, all are God. Basically, the idea is all of that is God. And nothing is superior or inferior. This is the message given here. Nobody is superior. Mouth is not superior to legs. Legs have their function. Mouth has its function. Mm. It is so. Uh, Everything is just a God. So then it is all sun, moon, everything is imagined on this Purusha. The mind is connected with moon. So therefore, if the mind is not functioning, we associate it with moon. The fellow is loony. It is. We have therefore that lunatic asylum. What is that lunatic? Well, lunar means connected to moon. So mind is connected to moon. Even not only in the Vedic literature, but even in the Western culture, that it is connected with moon. So it is Chaksho Suryo Vajayata. From the eyes came, and that brings light. The eye and its function is to make light. And what is that uh, thing that is the most luminous the body is the sun. Chaksho Suryo Ajayata, Mukhad Indrascha Agnishcha. These all different deities and powers of the world. It is all that very being. So uh, it is described in details in this way. So in the navel, the whole space is inside this navel. So, and from the Shirshna, it is that is the top of the head. It is the Jauhu, means it is the skies, the shining skies, Juloka, that came from there, they and all that. So this is now you the purpose of telling is that all this is that Purusha. That Purusha alone is all this. So that is the next verse is emphasizing that a very famous verse. It comes also in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Swami Vivekananda made this verse very popular by reciting it at the Parliament of Religions. Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Adityavarnam Tamasastu Pare Sarvani Rupani Vichitya Dhirah Namani Kritva Bhivadan Yadaste. That I know through intuitive experience. Important, it is not a product of logical derivation, but of intuitive experience. Logical derivation can take you only up to a limit. It cannot bring you the intuitive experiential knowledge. Certain things you cannot deduce logically. For example, the existence of self. It is not deducible through logic. Only in a negative way you can say that without I being there, who is thinking? So I have to be there. It is, but it is actually a matter of experience. You cannot rub it out. I always am. So this is an intuitive experience. So uh, you now know that all this is really that Purusha. Uh, this is Vedahametam, means the student, the disciple, having heard all this, now declares that yes, now I understand it because of the sadhana. After hearing from the student, hearing from the teacher, the student now uh, performs the practice, does the necessary sadhana as told by the Guru. And then what happens? The experience emerges. Like you consult the Google map, and then you arrive at the place where you wanted to reach. And thus, it's like that. You followed the sadhana told by the Guru, and you arrived at the place and say, hey, here I am. So, Vedahametam. What, Juhi? Confidently, you will say then, Vedahametam. I now know. Then you can put your fist on the table. I know for sure Vedahamet, because it is intuitive experience now. Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam. And very shining or lustrous. That great being. Great means the whole universe is inside it. What can be greater than that? So, Mahantam, it is the superlative of Mahan, Mahantam, and tremendously lustrous, Aditya Varnam, Tamasah Parastad, beyond all darkness. And knowing that you go beyond mortality, Atimrityumeti, then you will not die by anything. Let there be thousand coronas, these things, it will not touch the spirit. It will only kill the body. That anyway dies, isn't it? Many died with corona. Sad thing, no doubt. But had there been no corona, are we going to become immortal? If not today, tomorrow some Borona will kill us. I mean, you will assign this cause or that cause, but the death is certain. It is, they say here, death and taxes. So it is, yeah, they are sure to be there. Thus, there is no escape from that except when you realize the unchanging. That which changes is mortality. But when by sadhana you see the immortal, I am that, so I will not be touched by death at all. I am beyond the clutches of death. It is that awareness comes to you. So it is in Swami Vivekananda's so many books. You can read this. That how silly to think that I will die. What can ever kill me? It is when I am body, then because of the identification with body, what happens? I am identified with body. So whatever happens to body happens to me. Hmm. It is like a shirt. Imagine, if the shirt is torn, do I get torn, Gauri? It is only the shirt that is torn. I do not get torn. But if I get identified with the shirt, I am shirt. Then the shirt gets torn, I get torn. It is this, the body and I, when they are identified, the body is born, I say I am born. I have the date of birth and all that, when did you born, when were you born, you have to tell it at the doctor's office. In India, I never remember my birthday, what it was. Now here, every time you call the doctor's office, you have to tell the date of birth. Once I got called the doctor's office for verification. Can you confirm your date of birth? And I told her this 3rd January or whatever. Uh, and then that person asked and the line, what year? I said, every year. It is, no, no, no. I mean, now they the person could not really phrase it. No, no, no. I mean, the year that you were actually born. Means, I said, okay, okay. I didn't stretch it too much, but it is. I would have said I was too little then to remember. It is anyway. So, but it is the all that is happening to body. If I am not body, it doesn't happen to me. If I am body, then what we do? I have to die, whether corona or whatever else. The death is certain. It is. But when I know I am not body, so many bodies are painted or shown on me. It is this movie goes, another movie comes up on the screen. The screen remains the same. There was a comedy on the screen, and next show is a tragedy. And the screen does not laugh or does not cry either. It remains the same. So that is how so many movies, birth after birth, they are like new movies. They are coming up on the screen of this self. Ah, I am that unchanging reality. This knowledge comes through sadhana, and that is the goal of life, and not to collect some other tidbits of, additional information. That is, there is one topic that is planned to be discussed in Rochester, that Narad and Sanat Kumar dialogue. That it is uh, they all what you call as lot of knowledge. And what is it? Lot of words. So it is said that namani kritva bhivadan yadaste. You give different names, and then because of those names, those things appear to be real. Mm. The name continues. The things change, things, the owners change, everything. The name, and in our Rhode Island, it is funny, it changes so often, so people forget that where do you live? So the address is told in a very funny way. Uh, where earlier the Dunkin' Donut used to be, and it is no more there. Where that Dunkin' Donut used to be, and right across that is our home. So now Dunkin' Donut is gone, but the name survives. You see, it is, yeah, the name goes on, and that gives the sense of reality, a continuity. It is everything is like that, dude, because of the name Yogatmananda. How much change has happened to Yogatmananda externally and internally? The body completely changes. And yet, you see, people would say, I met you 10 years ago. You look different, but yeah, I met you 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Whom did they meet? The flesh and all that is changed, gone. Uh, so, what is that they are identifying? Mm, the name. With the name, it is connected. Did I tell you the story? One gentleman had come. I had come to this country just about a year ago, and he came and he told that, "Oh, I met you 5 years ago. At that time, the Vedanta Society was in other building. I met you there." I said, "No, was not here in US then. So how did you meet me?" Oh, he said, okay. Then I must have met some other Swami. Uh, what happens is all monks and all monkeys look alike. So the truth of, it is not that he is kind of saying monks are monkeys, but what it means is that when you are not familiar, then you cannot really separate one monkey from another monkey. So when you meet monk, the similar dress, similar appearance, all have, head shaved or whatever. So it is, so all look similar. But then if you know the name, that remains more or less unique. So, namani kritva, you give the name, and thus you give it an identity. In spite of the thing being changed, because of name, it remains. And thus, actually, all that we call knowledge is nomenclature. Earlier, if you know that, well, the existence is that we can divide into animates and inanimates. Uh, that which is the animates, that is the study of biology. Biology is that. So now we got one name, biology. Then you further divide it. You have botany and zoology. Further divided it. And now again, there are so many varieties of plants and so many varieties of animals. You further divide it. One that time one that high school girl was telling me that today in our uh, that zoology class we learned that there are 10 phylums. So further what nomenclature, nothing much gets added to that knowledge, but you put more names, lot more names. And then you think that you know a lot. It is the additions of names. So, namani kritva bhivadan yadaste. So, it is that, yes, and the nomenclature for those form deals with them by these names. So, just the names. So that is how what we call knowledge is. But as you go beyond the names, you see that oneness. It is Dhata Purastadyamuda Jahara Shakra Pravidwan Pradishaschatasraha Tamevam Vidwan Amritaiha Bhavati Nanya Pantha Ayanaya Vidyate. A very beautiful and, in a way, a categorical verse that in the ancient days that that Prajapati praised him, Indra, who knows all the four quarters, also spoke about him. Anyone who knows him thus will become immortal even in this life. For attaining liberation, there is no other path. Mm. There is no other path. Means this knowledge of the unchanging being has to be obtained. You can obtain it through different paths, that is another thing, but this has to be obtained. That's a must. There is no other way. In our school days, primary school days, we had to get the book. And our teacher used to say, without book, you are not allowed in the class. I said, well, I don't have it. Then that famous saying used to be there: buy, beg, borrow, or steal. I don't care. If you have book, then only you are allowed in the class. No book, then you are not allowed in the class. So that is how you have to get this knowledge. And then you are liberated. That if you shake the head, no, I don't want it, then you don't have liberation. Uh, it is, uh, if you don't want it, then you are rejecting the possibility of liberation. Uh, you are bound by your choices, remember. It is, you cannot then regret. Later on, regretting that why did I make this choice doesn't solve the problem. You made the choice. Now what can you do? You have to go through that choice. So make a wise choice, not the choice by being headstrong, ah, that it is, no, I don't want it. It is make the choice by uh, proper judgment, thinking, and then see, yes, this is the look at the consequences and judge by that, not in an impulsive way. So that is what is told. Do you know, by not uh, by choosing not to know this being, you are obliterating the possibility of liberation. That means you will be bound. Do you want to be bound? No. Who is saying yes? No. Nobody will say, yes, I want to be bound. Hmm. Only way to get liberated is this. So, yajnena yajnamayajanta devaha तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् ते हनाकं महिमानः सचन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साध्या सन्ति देवाः. The gods worship Prajapati in the form of yajna, through yajna or sacrifice. Now it shows that with as you look at this, your actions get transformed. The great sublime secret of changing the direction of our life. You continue to externally do the same thing. It is not that he will say here that my this engineering doesn't work. I will take up another engineering form. No, that is not what is needed. You don't say that I have a this Toyota car. It doesn't go there. Let me get Subaru. It is not the question of Subaru or Toyota. It is driving in the right direction. You by changing the car, you don't get there, but by changing the direction, you will get there. So, whatever thing you are doing in life, now do it as a yoga or sacrifice. Turn it into a sacrifice for God realization. And then that will bring that illumination in one's life. So, it is said here, the gods worship Prajapati in the form of yajna, through yajna. Yeah, and those very uh, processes became now primary dharmas. Those very processes which were earlier done through ignorance, now they are being done uh, through knowledge, means to imbibe, to cultivate this knowledge and bring it in our life. So, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, turn the direction, mod ghuriye dibe. That is what all we have to do. Whatever we do, let it be focused, directed towards this goal of life. So, uh, those great ones attain that heaven where the ancient devas and sadhyas live. So you get to that. There is now the progress happening in life to go evolve higher and higher. Now it is a path. So you evolve on this path instead of evolving in the worldly ways. Oh, last year I earned 500,000. This year I am going to earn 1 million. And that is one kind of progress. It doesn't matter. It increases your poverty. That's all. Uh, yeah, it is. It increases the poverty. I was explained that one devotee told that, look, uh, and he put it so nicely. that uh, a beggar, say, collects $50 uh, one day, and then uh, well, things that had I collected $55, it would have been so good. I would have had a very good place to sleep. Means I could have bought something, a blanket to sleep on this the sidewalk, and then I would have got some good food. So instead of 55, 60 would have been good. So this fellow is poor by how much? $5. Think of, say, yesterday we were talking about, say, Bezos. Uh, it will be, oh, today I got rich by 1 billion. I should have been rich by 2 millions. So how much Bezos is poor? By 1 billion. So that is how, uh, by adding all those things, we become more and poor, because more and more poor, because our desires keep on increasing. It gets so we feel, I want more, I want more of this. It is terrible, very terrible. So it is this kind of life uh, does not lead to liberation. More and more bondage. eh? So it is told here that that is how you evolve by practicing these disciplines in a proper way. And then it is uh, the further salutations are given, and then again he says, now by following this path, turning your faculties in that direction, again he says, Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Adityavarnam Tamasah Parastat Tamevam Vidwan Amrita Iha Bhavati Nanya Pantha Vidyate Yanaya. Almost the same verse, but one is that he is uh, kind of feeling it. There are ways, like I yesterday I was telling Prasanna that we will be there in 15 minutes. We have almost arrived. Now, almost and actual, there is difference there. So it is, first is that feeling, almost arrived. We are almost there. That is that Veda Hametam, the first one. Now this is the next one. Now you are actually parking the car right there. So this is another level of arrival. So it is प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे अन्तः अजायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीरा परिजानन्ति यूनिम् मरीचीनां पदमिच्छन्ति वेधसः. Beautiful idea that Prajapati, the Lord of all beings, that the first being who had been, from whom then the other things started coming up secondarily. So that Virat that was described earlier, that the big being, sometimes it is called Brahmanda, means a big egg from which all those things sprang up. So it is this Prajapati, in that Prajapati moves inside the cosmic womb. Though unborn, he takes birth in a variety of ways. Ajayamano bahudha vijayate. Unborn, but in the form of every single being. He is born. It is he is born. So that it is the perception has to change, that it is all God in this form. That's all. Mm. I like that analogy that when you go to see that Madame Tussauds wax museum, so there is this statue, that statue, there is, and there are all these famous personalities there. That this is, say, Winston Churchill, and this is Einstein. Now, Einstein and Churchill are different, but it is there in the museum, it is all wax. This is wax looking like Churchill, this is wax looking like Einstein, and this is another wax looking like Edison. You can go on like that. So, we have to change our awareness that this is the Purusha, the self, the God, looking like Rohit. This is that God looking like Susmita, that God looking like Harichandan. It is all God that is just shaped like this. The substance is God. And this is the essential idea in Vedanta, and so beautifully illustrated in this Purusha Sukta. So, and then that is this Yo Devebhya Tapati, all those great beings. In that also, it is the same substance, nothing apart from that. So, this is how it has been described, that in the beginning of the creation, the gods manifesting the light of Brahman address Brahman thus, that Brahman who realizes you, all the gods will come under his control. Because if you have the substance under your control, everything is under your control. When you realize that this is all Purusha, you become master of everything. So, friends, uh, I am feeling so much privileged to be able to think and meditate uh, loudly to you. I was actually not giving any lecture. I was trying to feel this Purusha Suktam and meditate on it uh, loudly, that's all. So, thank you very much for providing me this opportunity. May we all realize this truth of underlying eternal being in everything, every